Hello, welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to another video to talk about Watford's transfer window so far, or lack of transfer window. And we're going to be ranking some of the potential signings that could be coming in. Some rumours that are flying around, obviously, on Watford Twitter, Watford socials. I'm sure you've seen some of the names that have been linked with the club. But thank you so much to everyone who's joined. It's great to be joined by, as well, Charlie Zazzera, Mr. Sam Ucko. Sam, I would say first off, mate, interesting choice of shirts in the background.
Yeah, we got the.
Talk us through it. Have you gone over the one on the right?
First of all, Jal. I'm never getting rid of that Jal shirt. I'll always love you, Jal. Unless, of course, you go to Luton at some point in your career. But yeah, the Jal shirt's not going. And then with the Assombalonga one, it was the club were obviously auctioning loads of shirts recently. And I was on a night out. I had a few, and I saw it going for 30 quid, so I just bought it. You know what? Not saying no to any signed memorabilia either. So yeah, sitting there next to João Pedro, obviously not quite on the same level, but yeah, nice little background, I suppose.
Yeah, it was interesting how the club were putting like socks, shirts.
João Pedro's shorts were going as well, I think.
I was a big fan of Samir's shirt from pre-season. That was a fan's favourite. Charlie, mate, how are you getting on? You okay? Again, I don't want to pick out the background, but Pep with a love heart, King next King.
That's my girlfriend's work. Yeah, all good. Just feel a bit like, you know, that meme of that guy. I don't know what series he's from, where he's just waiting, where he's on the swing, he's like on the table. That's what I feel like I've been this transfer window. So I'm sure we're going to get into it now, but good to have the band back together and look forward to chatting.
What a pleasure. Evening to everyone. Wendover on. Greg, how you getting on, mate? Long-time viewer of the channel, and do you know what, Greg, you're everywhere now, mate. Every time I go onto Twitter, you're on the Twitter space, you're on a podcast. Good to see you, my man. Tom, just a couple of comments just to kick off. Pretty worried about the coming season. As it stands, we have a weak squad in a stronger league compared to last season. Need some signings ASAP. I think a lot of people are probably feeling the same, Tom. Surin, evening to you, my man. Wendover, has there been an auction of Raymond I's grotty underpants?
Where's that come from, this whole thing about Raymond I's underpants? I always see it about for some reason on social media.
Really?
I have no idea where this has come from. If Wendover, you could let me know where this has come from in the comments, because I'm actually quite interested, to be honest.
So it's really weird, Sam, because I for a moment did think Raymond I was going to be returning, and I had a theory that the Watford admin was going to announce it with return of the Manai, like return of the Mac, and he's going to like come out and let we move. Ryan, good to see you, my man. I hope we can keep Valor Ismail for a long time. What do you think will happen? How long we last for? Before we discuss anything, just feeling at the moment, Charlie, transfer-wise, lack of it, is it a worry?
Yeah, I think it is a worry. I am disappointed that we haven't been able to get kind of our targets that we want to get in. I feel like Cho was a big target that we missed out on, but we competed with Midtjylland, who have got European football. So that was disappointing. We couldn't get him in. And yeah, it's been disappointing that we can't get as many numbers as we wanted to. But I think one thing that stuck out of me when Ben Manga kind of said he wants to make sure we get the right people. He wants to look in their eyes to make sure they want to play from Watford. This time last year, we were bringing in your Bios, your Manais, and we had to wait until like August 10th and 13th till Chowdhury Davis come in. So I think the club that we are, we can't go out and get who we want. We have to wait for kind of a domino effect and different situations to come. So a bit disappointed. We haven't got the players that we want to get yet, but I think it's been an interesting kind of rebuild, seeing all the outgoings. And I think if our expectations are lower and we can get some right players in at the end of the window and hopefully try to build, it doesn't look like we're going to go up this season, but if we're in the right going in the right direction, I'm sure we'll all be happy as fans.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Sam, from just kind of building what Charlie said there, I wouldn't say everyone's resigned themselves to not going up, but certainly there's an extent that I think people are going, they're looking at the lack of transfer activity and going, well, we can't expect to go up, if that makes sense. I haven't seen a lot of people online going, God, we're definitely going to be pushing for promotion. And you look at the squad at the moment, how are you feeling? Because Will in the comment section says he can't wait for the new season. How are you feeling? And I know there's some people who can wait for the new season. So where do you fall in that?
I'm always excited to watch Watford. And you know what, no matter how, I did say this season I'm going to try and be positive, but no matter how negative some people are when hopefully the sun will be out against QPR. A few beers with a few mates as well, and everyone gets excited at the start of the season. So I think confident is the wrong word, but I'm excited, as I always am, to watch Watford, particularly sort of in that summer period. In terms of on the pitch, though, to be honest with you, I don't know if this is harsh, and you can both disagree with me if you like. I think we just seem a bit unorganised, to be honest with you. The lack of incomings, I think, looks like we're making that up as we go along in a way. I think that I completely agree with you, Charlie, that we have to accept what sort of football club we are, and that we're not always going to get our first choice target when you're competing with clubs pushing for Europe, playing in the Premier League as well, for example. But then you're meant to have second choices, you're meant to have third choices. And obviously we are going into that market now. And I reckon a lot for many positions now, we're not looking at our first choices anymore. But it would have been nice to give Valerian Ismail probably 2 or 3 more weeks than he's going to get with new signings before the season actually starts.
Is it a surprise though, Sam? Because I think we had the same thing last season, didn't we, under Edwards? Maybe not to the same extent, but there was a panic about the right back was the big one, right? I mean, we were looking for a dynamic right back for a while, and Gaspar, although he came in, wasn't that, and we let Kiko go, and then we're having to play players out of position. Now, I know people are likening that to sort of Sierralta playing in midfield in pre-season. What I would say to that is, I think what Ishmael wants to do with one of his centre-backs is for them to drive and support the midfield, if I'm being honest. I don't think that he's seeing him as a midfielder, more to link between the midfield and defence. But is it giving you sort of flashbacks to last year with what we saw under Rob?
Yeah, that definitely. Interesting. I think it was also Shaq Ford was seen playing in that deep lying role in midfield.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting, and it's quite nice to see sort of experiments like that being made as well. I quite like managers trying to change things up. So I suppose we'll see. It might turn out to be an absolute masterclass, or might turn out to be a disaster. I'm not too sure, but I think you're completely right. I just think it looks like it's the same sort of situation that we were in this time last year, to be honest with you. I agree with you, Charlie. I know we saw Davis and Chowdhury come in late, and I think we will probably see 2 or 3 really good signings come in. Looks like, I know Jamal Lewis is out in America training with Newcastle, but it looks like that deal, it seems to be, we're in talks with him. That would be a good signing, I think. So yeah, I think 2 or 3 signings towards the end of the window, I think we'll see. But yeah, I agree with you, Jacob. I think it does seem similar to what we had last year.
Yeah, it does. Do you know what, mate? It's not even that. It's just feeling that way. Whether it is or not, we'll have to wait and see. One man in the comment section answers, yes, chaps, gutted about Cho, as Charlie said. Will we keep Sarr and get him on a new contract? Can't see him wanting to drop much money wages-wise, if any. And Tommy in the comment section, good to see him, my man, said Sarr to Saudi Arabia, with obviously a lot of players going to Saudi Arabia. Can you see that, Charlie?
Hope so. Have they not got a number? No, I think
you know who to call, lads.
I think it's an interesting point about Sarr, and a couple of people suggested online is that we're waiting to sell Sarr to use that money to be able to reinvest. So I'm not sure if he's back at the training ground. It's going to be interesting. Scott Duxbury made it very clear, didn't he, that Sarr is one of the only players who doesn't want to play for the club anymore. So yeah, I just feel a bit gutted we didn't sell him when we had the chance. Or we tried to last year when Aston Villa came in, but that could be important.
Even Everton, right?
One thing I think, and we're going to talk about the names, but I think from the names that we're going after, they do look quite, well, maybe minus Jake Livermore, but they do look quite impressive signings. So I'm quite encouraged to the fact that Manga's going after some names he can really think can make an impact and help us. And like I said, I think we'll probably do a video about it, but let's judge when the window's shut about how good our window's been. But how are you feeling about it, Jacob?
So I'm a little bit torn. I kind of feel Sam's frustration in the sense that I understand why, we're not bringing in players after I think some of the performances we've seen last season, you're going to be wanting additions and you're going to want us to strengthen. I think, unfortunately, we found ourselves in a position, and I think you can liken it to what's happening at Norwich, where both went down in the COVID season. And I think we're just playing catch up financially, unfortunately. I just think we've got to the point where we can't spend like we used to. We were never splashing the cash, but I think we have to be even smarter than we were before. with the signings that we bring in. I also think we can't be in a situation where we have too many mishits, if that makes sense. So when we do bring in a player, hope 9 times out of 10 it's kind of got to work just purely based on the financially. I'm actually enjoying the resetting of some of the squad. I think the players that we've let go, obviously good luck to Hungbo. I think we need to move him on. You look at some of the other players in the squad. I think that needs to continue just to the end of the transfer window. Look, the way I saw it, I tweeted it the other day actually. If you said to me now, Watford finished mid-table, we kept Ishmael for the whole season, and I enjoyed going to games, I'd actually probably take that. And pardon me, and then build for a promotion push the following season or a playoff push. That for me would actually be a successful season if we've then cleared the squad and it's looking like it's going in the right direction. One thing I would say about Manga, and I know people are mostly going to judge him on who he brings in. I think clearly what's happened already is they've identified the players that they don't want to be keeping. And for me, that's a positive, right? If we've come away from this transfer window, we've got rid of players that weren't going to play. We've managed to make a little bit of money from it. We can reinvest. I think the only question mark over the players that haven't gone so far and then their hands might be tied is just with Sarr, because ultimately until we sell Sarr, we then can't reinvest that back into the squad. So we had to sell João Pedro. We're playing catch up financially. I'm actually quite happy with what we're doing in that respect, but it would have been nice to have a few more free transfers or a couple more loans that we can maybe look to build on. For example, Jamal Lewis, I think that's a good signing. I think it's quite a clever signing. So it's a guy who's got a point to prove, etc. But that's another story. So in answer to your question, Charlie, I'm quite happy with the way we've reset the squads with players that are leaving.
Been needed for a while as well, hasn't it?
Been needed for a while, as you say, Sam. And I just think if we can be clever and look, the Daily Mail, how reliable it is, I don't know. So we're looking to bring in 5 signings. Now, if that I imagine one of them will be someone like Jake Livermore, and then you look at the rest and it's kind of open for whatever direction we want to go in. But I think if we can bring in a couple of players, they fit what Val wants to do, I think that would be a clever window. I don't think it'd be the most extravagant. It won't be, the 2012-13 window, but it would be a start of a not a reset, but a refresh is what I would say. Sam, sorry, mate, I interrupted you there. You were saying it's been needed for a while.
Yeah, no, I was interrupting you there. I think, it's been needed for a while, and fair play to Mr. Manga and everyone involved for sorting out
Manga. I like that.
sorting out those departures. Obviously, João Pedro, good bit of money for him, but a lot of, I hate the word deadwood because I think players can always offer something. But for example, we know Cathcart was getting on, Tom Cleverley was getting on as well, retired. Obviously, I don't think we've done a video since, but fair play to Tom. Fantastic career on the whole, great servant. And hopefully I know he's a coach with us now, and hopefully we see him continue as a coach for over the next few seasons. But yeah, I think without the incomings, the rebuild has well and truly begun, and that's definitely a positive sign and something that I think a lot of fans should take positives from. Just a quick prediction about Sarr, though. I don't think anyone's going to come in for him, and I think he'll end up at Udinese. That's what I'm going for.
That is a bombshell and a half, Sam. Out of absolutely nowhere. No, I could see that. I mean, I know we're just talking before we get onto the tier list. We've got a few to go through, but it's more just a transfer video anyway. Charlie, I don't know if you've seen the Udinese squads and the makeup of it at the moment and the amount of defenders they've got. It does feel like, well, personally, I'd be surprised if a couple of those names didn't come over. Is there anyone you look at that list and go, I wouldn't mind them coming to Watford?
Yeah, I just want to get the list in front of me.
It's
a really interesting point. It's something I didn't really consider. But I think when you're looking at how we've been operating and what we've got to spend, I do think you're right. I think looking at their squad that they've kind of been able to build up, we will be looking to get a couple of their players. Someone made an interesting point that when their kind of sporting director came in, they did a similar kind of mass exodus and got rid of loads of people. So we got the squad up here. I would not be surprised if we get a couple of these guys on loan. I think, that prediction about Sarr is a good shout. I could see it happening. If Kamara's 16 million, how much are we going to get for Sarr? I don't know. Exactly. Look at these players. Did you see the amount of defenders And the instant ones that kind of stick out to people, the players that, and make sure in the comments, we done a tweet, in the comments tell us which Udinese players you think we should sign. The names that stick out are kind of that Zamora and Abaselli used to play for the Derby, but apparently they're quite involved in the first team squad, and they look like they're going to be playing. So I'm not too sure then. And if you're looking at our fullbacks, if we get Lewis in, we'll have Lewis, Morris, and then on the other side, we've got Ngakia, Andrews, Ferreira. So the fullbacks area might not be the place we need to look at. They have got loads of strikers there. Some interesting names, including Isaac Success. But there's some really good strikers there. I know Beto, a couple of people are looking at him. Obviously, he's big money. We'd never get him. They brought in Bremer from Cincinnati, I think. Yeah. Brazilian striker for 10 million. I don't know if we could get him. It'd be amazing if we could. I think Semedo might be more realistic. But to be honest, when I looked at that list, I found it quite hard to pick out anyone. Kamara, who's gone there, who was at Huddersfield, 20, is impressed for France under 19s. He looks like someone who'd be really good to get. So you could see that happening, got championship experience, but he is only 20. So he's the only real name that kind of stands out to me. I don't know if anyone in the comments, you guys think of any other players that could work?
So Jamie in the comment section's gone for a similar vibe to you, Charlie. Beto, Kamara, and Kamara. Oh God, imagine we got Hassan Kamara back. That'd be unbelievable.
I mean, sure. In terms of players coming back, the one that I think I could see is Adam Messina coming back, to be honest.
Could you?
I could see him coming back, yeah. Not saying that I'd take him. I wouldn't take him. I don't think he's good enough, but he's someone who can play at left back and play on the left of the back three as well. Championship experience. I think he's over that ACL injury now that he had, or might be just still recovering from it. But if we don't bring in a left back, I could see a late move for him.
Messina's the interesting one. It's he was on the bench a lot for Udinese last season, but from my perspective, I think the one name that stood out for me, as Charlie just mentioned at the end, is Kamara. I think he's the one player who excelled for Huddersfield last season. I spoke to a guy at work, well, a couple of guys at work who work on the French team, and they were saying from what they've seen of him, they think he's ready to play Serie A football, which was interesting. So whether he would see it as a bit of a downgrade, I don't know if that's part of the package. It's a 5-year deal. He's 20 years old. Would it do him the most harm coming to Watford for a season? I think it'd be a good move for us. But no, let's have a look what you guys think in the comment section below. Luan says, the only one I'd take is Kamara. Uncle Ron, don't you worry, mate. We'll get to your questions. Take a chill, Paul. Don't worry, mate. We're coming
I do agree, though. I do agree with something he said further up was that it's
hold the line, Sam. I'm just going to get that comment up. So he said, Uncle Ron, give me 2 seconds. Oh, wait, there's a lot of comments flooding in from the main man himself. Uncle Ron, I like you chaps, but don't you think it's very, very sad in the old-fashioned sense, the word, not the insult, that you are discussing rumours and not actual signings? Sam?
I agree with that, yeah. With 2 weeks to go until the season, I think it kicks off the championship 2 weeks tomorrow. We kick off in 16 days. I think it is quite sad that we're not actually talking about actual signings. We've signed, Healy? Who else has come in? Just off the left side now. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, we really need to bring players in because, as you say, Jacob, I mean, I as we spoke about, I'm happy with the players that have come out. And all I want to see at the bare minimum next season is just enjoy watching Watford again. But at the moment, this team won't be competitive at all, to be honest with you.
That's an interesting debate about what defines you enjoying Watford. So, Charlie, for you, when you look at comparing it to last season as well, I think this is something that's different for everyone. So feel free to disagree with how we guys look at us guys look at it. This is the whole point of it. But what would be a successful season for you? And I think we're getting to that point now where, regardless of what happens signings wise, how are you seeing it going into this campaign?
2 things: seeing the team that we can get behind.
Yeah.
And I don't expect us to roll out against QPR and blow them away and be playing this perfect Val ball and the intensity. I think it's going to take time. But if we can see the right effort and we can kind of try and connect to the players, that'd be good. And then the number one objective for me would be, can we keep Valérien Ismaël for a whole season? I think that'd be massive progress. I know you mentioned it earlier, Jacob, but it'd be interesting because we could go 10 games in the results, and obviously some fans will be moaning about it, but this is a real kind of seminal moment for Watford where we need to hold our bottle. We're making a lot of decisions there where we're getting rid of a lot of players that we want to. We might have a thin squad. Everyone's moaning about lack of signings, but I want to stress we want to get the right people in. We don't want to spend money and keep getting Umanais and British Sombalongas and people who are not going to have a future at the club, Bakunas. We want to get players that we can fall in love with. So we need to judge at the end of the window about the recruitment, and we will do, but we just need to kind of hold our nerve, trust the process. And yeah, I think where it falls down and where we can be negative is what we're seeing on the pitch is individuals, bad attitude, no one doing what the manager wants, cycle, etc. But look, what's the point of being if you don't want to be positive and follow your team and have a good time, what is the point of being a football fan? That's how I think about it. So roll on QPR and Stevenage.
Zazzera, captain, leader, legend. Love that, mate. Just on that, on departures. So just to give the picture, Pedro, Ekong, Hungbo, Keena, Asambalonga, Gaspar, Bakuna, Cathcart, Cleverly, Kamara, Anna Rouge, obviously leaving. Davis, if you want to count that as well. Courtney Hawes.
Like he's going to West Brom now as well.
So I think when you look at it like that, in terms of departures, I think you've got to say fair play. Arrivals, yes, there could be a couple more. But look, we don't want to. There's still time. Still time.
Positive this season. I'm positive.
Anyway,
positive.
We've done 20 minutes exactly, as Sam said. If you can, be positive. But actually, last question, Sam. This is one for you. Genuine question for Luans: is that Luton team that went up quality-wise better than the current Watford squad? The only difference, in his opinion, is mentality and approach.
Luton are awful and they got promoted by pure luck. I'm joking. I think there was an element that Luton knew what they were good at last season. They had a manager there that knew his team's strengths and adapted to his team's strengths as well. And there was a real mentality and strong team spirit there that really carried them over the line, I think. Obviously, the quality wasn't amazing. It was probably mid-table championship quality. Similar. I think it's similar, to be honest with you. I don't think it's better or worse. I think the quality of both teams probably a bit similar. But as Lou said there, I think the mentality and approach was a lot better than what we have.
Russ, I like the trimming of the squad. Still some more to do. Hopefully looking at quality over quantity, as Charlie mentioned as well. Yeah, absolutely agree with that, Russ. Right, moving on to the second part of this video. And we'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below. As always, thanks to everyone who's watching. Really good numbers, especially after, I know we had a couple of weeks away. But we kind of felt, ultimately, there's not a lot to talk about with Watford at the moment. And if we did a video for every player that left the club, then I think we would have had quite a lot to do. But anyway, moving on to today's video, the second part, as you can see in the title, the rumoured tier list. So we've got 5 categories. We had a few technical difficulties, hence the delay on the stream for kind of the tier list. But I'm just going to have to let you imagine it. I will also put it in the live chat below. If you're watching this back, it'll be in the comment section below or in the description. So if you want to follow it, you can follow it there. So you've got 5 categories in terms of transfer rumour signing. So this player would be amazing, a decent signing, good but unrealistic. I don't hate it. No thanks. Stay clear. We're going to go through some players that have been linked with a move to Watford. We're not saying they are joining. They could be joining, but they've been linked, and we can only go based off that. And I know Andrew French said about the amount of rumours that can go round in the transfer window, and that's why he waits until it's pretty much before it becomes official to comment on it, which I completely understand. But unfortunately, we've got nothing else to go off at the moment, so we're going to go with these. Rumours. So, Charlie, the first name is Lucas Shaw, well known, obviously in the Championship. I'm sure you guys know him as well. Striker, played for Reading. Where would he fit on the 5 categories, which I'm now going to put in the live chat?
It's a no thanks for me. I know he's a free agent at the moment, so he would be free. He's 29 years old. If you look at his numbers every season, they're kind of on the decline. He's quite injury prone. He's had 2 seasons where he's missed quite a lot. I just don't know if he's going to be able to deliver that intensity that Val wants. And I think if our main target was Cho or something like that, comparing to Lucas João. If we were speaking maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we'd have probably said yes. But for me, Lucas João, no, thank you.
Moving on. Sam, disagree, by the way?
No. I agree with you, Charlie.
Love it. So, moving on. Another man who has played for Reading is Zazzera Casadei. Charlie, pronunciation okay?
Casadei, yeah, Casadei. Potato.
Moving on. So, Sam, I don't know how much you've seen of him. I have to say, when I've seen a little bit, more for, I think it was an Italy youth tournament. I've completely forgot which tournament it was, but like the look of him, and also kind of the profile of player that I would expect Manga to be interested in. Where does he fit? Would be amazing, decent signing, good but unrealistic. Don't hate it. No thanks.
Yeah, friend of the channel, Rio Wolf, was telling me about Cassidy's tournament recently, and apparently had a really good one as well. Seemed to be quite good at Reading last season. I just think that there's going to be other clubs interested in him, as Lou says there. So I think it's good signing but unrealistic, to be honest.
Good signing but unrealistic. We've got a couple.
Leicester want him, don't they?
Yeah,
and I think Leicester, looking at their business, I really like the look of Enzo Maresca. I think they're going to be the ones to beat this season. I think they're going to win the league, personally, of what I've seen so far. So,
do you think they'll walk the league, Charlie?
No, because there's a big transition. But I don't know. But Burnley did very similar to Burnley with the Pep disciple in Maresca. I just think they'll be a lot better than Southampton. And looking at those boys spending £10, £15 million on those players, they need to go up this season. Otherwise, they'll be doing a Watford and a Norwich next season.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? I don't know. I think Leicester walk it. And one name, sorry, just completely just popped into my head. Hamza Chowdhury, another guy who's obviously left the squad as well, which I completely forgot about. Moving on to the next player, Charlie. Islam Slimani, a man who I think he goes down in Watford folklore as one of the most transfer-rumoured players to Watford of all time. I mean, the summer of 2017, the Marco Silva summer, there was that. I think actually that was a lot of the tension between Pozzo and Silva was over the striker position, because we had a Carco, if I remember correctly. Andre Gray came in, but I don't think he was a Silva player by any stretch. I think the fact that Akaka played on the first game of the season said it all against Liverpool. But Islam Slimani, I wouldn't be against it.
You're saying don't hate it?
Yeah. The silence was loud there from you.
Yeah. Just on Silva, I don't usually slag off coaches. But interesting that he looking like he could be leaving Fulham for pastures new.
Could never expected that.
In Saudi Arabia, which was a big shock to me. But anyway, you're saying don't hate it. I'm saying no thanks. He's 35. He scored 1 goal in 16 last season. Is he going to be able to deliver the intensity that we want? I know he's quite good in the air, but if we got like a Cho and he was a backup, I'd be fine. But it's a no thanks for me.
I think if he brings Islam Slimani off the bench, Preston away.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, I haven't told that. Sam, Slimani.
Yeah, Jacob, I apologise. I think you've been outvoted here. I'm going to go with a no thanks, to be honest. It's the age that puts me off, to be honest. 35. I know we need experienced heads in there, but yeah, I think we should stay clear, to be honest.
I'm just thinking, get it in the mixer. Wouldn't mind an Islam Slimani getting his head on it. Moving on. So I've been outvoted on that one. So this one is probably the most high-profile name that's been linked throughout this Watford transfer window, and that is Jake Livermore. Now, I want to hear what everyone thinks in the live chat below, because this one actually does seem like this could actually happen. I think out of all the rumours we've got listed, it's the closest, probably, the fact that he's been training with the team as well. I think he featured in the Arsenal friendly, if I'm correct. Sam, I'll throw this one over to you. Jake Livermore.
Well, it seems to be done, but I'm a no thanks. Yeah, I mean, it just seems that the deal, I mean, as you say, he's been training as well. I think, to be honest with you, what they've done is they've held on to Livermore training for as long as they can, waiting to see if they can get replacement centre mid in. We haven't been able to hit many targets, so I think we're going to sign him up. Yeah, no, it's a no thanks, but yeah, unfortunately, I think it is going to happen, to be honest.
It's giving me similar vibes, Charlie. So do you remember when Jack Rodwell was on trial for us? And he played at Brentford away in pre-season.
What year was that? We're in the Premier League.
That was the season we got to the FA Cup final.
To be fair, he played for Man City, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm totally with Sam on Jake Livermore. I mean, the only pro I can see is leadership, and he knows Val, but he's 33. And I'm just looking at our midfield options. Luza, Kone, Tom Dele-Bashiru, Kayembe, Ince plays centrally. Is he going to play over all those? And really good news yesterday that Jack Greaves signed a new deal. He got linked with a couple of places. He's my favourite academy player. I really, really like Greaves. So I'd much prefer have Greaves on the bench and Greaves featuring in the cup games. And Luza, Kone, I think Tom Dele-Bashiru is the type of player that we need that'll be suited to Valiant Ishmael style. The only thing I can see, it feels like they have to get in like an older head experience, but I think I might prefer just to keep Gosling. I don't know. What do you think, Jacob?
Look, don't shoot me down. I don't hate it as long as it's a backup. Is what I would say.
Because would you play him in front of like Dele-Bashiru or Kayembe?
Not in front of Kayembe. Dele-Bashiru for me, I don't know because I haven't seen enough of Tom really, just because of injuries and stuff. But with Kayembe, no, Kayembe's a better player, I would say, than Livermore. But what I would say is, I don't think it's not the sexiest of signings, but I don't think that's a bad option in the squad. But this is where the problem lies, because ultimately, if he then gets used week in, week out, that's where it becomes a problem, because we've seen it.
What's been the delay? What do you think the delay's been? I know, Sam, you touched on it. You think
fitness?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they've just been waiting to see if they could bring someone else in. Turns out they can't, and I think they'll sign him up because of that. Interesting, though, because I did see a few comments from West Brom fans that they can't stand him, and they really didn't rate him. So
that's always a good sign.
Yeah, always.
Should we move on?
Look, all I'd say is if we're struggling for midfielders and we're desperate for a backup, I would say that's fine. But anything more than a backup, unfortunately, that's not for me, Clive. Moving on to the next name, Adem Zugani. I have to admit, I've never seen him play, Charlie. So, or Sam, have you seen him play?
No. One for Charlie here.
I've only really seen clips of him, but
okay.
He is a player who plays for Charleroi, where we got bio and a certain agent is linked to.
Sorry, I do remember this rumour. Oh, yeah, I do remember this one.
He is linked. His agent is Moggy Bayat, but he's 23, like a centre midfielder, really energetic. He's got good quality on the ball. For me, he's a good but unrealistic. I think his value on transfer market is like 6 million. I think the report with the league said they want 10 million euros, which we just won't be able to afford. And do we want to go back to be getting a buy client? I don't know. If it's funny, isn't it? If Cho was, for a player like Cho was, his agent was buy it, would we want to get him? I personally think it's probably not worth it, and we should completely cut ties. But he's a really good player. I'll put good but unrealistic.
That was a rumour that I saw Luans actually tweet about, and he just said, I tried to sign Zugani for the club I work for in Belgium. He's the best midfielder in the league for me. I mean, that's high praise indeed. Look, I mean, I trust your word in it, Lou. I trust Charlie's Y Scout little look over. I'd be a fan of that, Sam.
Yeah, if Lou says it's a good player, it's good enough for me.
Would you mind that he's a buy-it client?
That's an interesting. Sam, I'll give this one over to you. Yeah, go for it.
It's a really interesting one because it does seem that every so often we do get some good Mogi clients. I think
Manuel Dennis.
Yeah, Manuel Dennis, for example. But then obviously with per every good one, we probably get 6 or 7 bad ones as well. To be honest with you, if I had to pick, I'd rather cut ties with Mogi Bayat completely. But I wouldn't be against this signing at all.
That's an interesting.
I feel hypocritical here, though, don't I? Because I'm like, I want to sign this player, but I don't want to be with Mogi anymore. Yeah, if we could just take the good players from now on, please. But I know that's unrealistic.
So where are we going to put? Are we put him in good but unrealistic, or would be amazing?
It's either good or unrealistic, or good to buy it. No thanks.
Oh,
See what the comments say. I usually say good but unrealistic, but I think I'm edging towards no thanks.
No thanks.
Because,
Okay.
because I know it's unrealistic.
So it's not to do with the player himself. It's more to do with the baggage.
Yeah, and I have also seen he's kicking off about not getting picked up for Algeria. So is he the right sort of player, etc. So maybe a no thanks. I think I've turned to, but he is a good player.
Wendover says it's not Bayer anymore; it's Mr. Mogi.
That's what Gino was calling him at the fan event recently.
Who was?
Gino was calling him Mr. Mogi. Apparently.
Mr. Mogi. Wow, first name.
Mogi Bear.
Moving on, Sam. I'll throw this one over to you, mate. Callum Styles, a player that I think would fit the Val Ball system pretty much.
Sounds celebrating.
I know. Put the contract on the table. Let him write whatever numbers he wants. I think he's a great player. Whenever I watched him last season and during his time at Barnsley as well, I think he's really good. He's worked with Ishmael before. Yeah, get him in. Good signing. Show her in the right direction, and a really positive one.
Yeah, that's the decent signing bracket for me.
So what are we thinking in terms of the report is his release clause is £2 million, which we obviously don't want to pay. And I know we're going to get to him, but I think they're looking at it and they're looking at Jamal Lewis, who could be better. And they're thinking we can get him on loan. His contract runs out next year. So we're going to get, I don't know.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Charlie, there. I think that's exactly what's happened, because why were we linked so early with him and it's gone completely quiet, and then the Jamal Lewis stuff has started to come out? That suggests that, look, we've basically gone away from any sort of, I reckon the max buy we'll see in this window would be less than $1 million on a player. Like, it won't go above $1 million, I don't think. Unless
do you think it would go in the good but unrealistic then?
I've got a decent signing. Like, you never know towards the window, or Lewis could get injured on tour. Like, you never know. So I think he's on the table. I don't know if anyone else is interested in him. Could we negotiate towards the back end of the window to get it cheaper? It would be good. He's 23, Hungary international, be great on that left side, scores bangers. So for me, he's a decent signing.
Yeah, agreed. I think we've all unanimously agreed that's going to be a decent signing if that does come, does get over the line, if it ever does. Lewis Palmer. Charlie, talk to me. Where does he fit in the bracket?
Yeah, I've gone decent signing. He's quite an exciting wide flair player. He plays alongside Andre Gray in Greece, the Greece side, Aris. So
yes.
him and Andre have got a good little link up. Scored quite a few goals. He's like not the tallest, but kind of a tricky winger. I think the Daily Mail reported that we're interested in him, and I think the deal was a loan with a subject to buy, so it wouldn't be too expensive. But I tweeted a compilation of his goals, and yeah, he looks quite excited. I don't know if he fits too much into Val Ball, and I don't know how he would handle coming into the Championship, but I think he looks quite exciting, and he done really well. I think he's one of the better players in the Greek league, so for me, it'd be a decent signing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit I haven't seen a lot of him again, but what I would say is the compilation Charlie tweeted about some of the bangers were just unreal. Also, quick side note, Aris FC is one of the most bizarre squads ever. I don't know if you guys have seen Andre Gray, Alan Pardew was the manager for a little bit. I think he's not there anymore. I'm just going to get transfer marked up. There's some serious names on there.
I'm surprised Mr. Pardew hasn't managed Watford yet, to be honest with you.
Oh God, Pardew, and then Javinho. There was someone else who was flying. I think was flying about there. Peter Atibo. That's a blast from the past. He was playing a bit at Aris FC. Charlie,
they do.
Yeah. Next name is Lamine Fomba. I don't know who wants to take this one.
It's quite a loose link, but he plays for Saint Etienne. they are in League Two.
Yeah.
Centre midfielder. You could see like we're looking for that kind of player, that better version of Jake Livermore, energetic, combative, similar to Hamza Chowdhury, which makes you think, could I ask a question in a bit? But he looked really good profile. He played 15 games for them last season, so not a main starter. I think in the report, he said he wasn't that keen on a move. So I've got him as good but unrealistic. But I want to get back to that question. I'm not sure how much game time Hamza Chowdhury is going to get for Leicester if they're playing this system that they're playing. Would you take him back?
Not for £6 million.
Another loan? I'd take him back on another loan.
I think I'd take him back on another loan, but I wouldn't take him back for a 6 million. I think for a loan that would be fine. Sam, I know you weren't a massive. I'm going to be honest, mate. I'm surprised it's not Hamza Chowdhury poster behind you. You love him that much.
God. Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. Yes, yeah, I'd stay away, to be honest. It looks like he's in Leicester's plans, though. I think. I'm not too sure.
He's played in the top of their friendlies. He definitely won't be a starter.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you.
Really?
Nah.
I think he'd be good for Valball.
Yeah, I think he would be good as well. It's just the fact that it's quite funny. I mean, let's be honest, lads. Another loan's unlikely, I would say. And even then, if it is £6 million, we're not buying Callum Styles for £2 million. So I'd imagine we're not going to get him on a permanent. So it'd have to be another loan, I think. And moving on to the next name, Sorry Cabba. Now, he scored an absolute worldie against us last season, and that was one of the worst games I've been to watching Watford for sure. Like atmosphere-wise, and everything.
Not the first 20 minutes. We were popping it about like the first 20 minutes.
Very true. After the first 20 minutes, the collapse was one of the best collapses I've seen for a Watford team. But Sam, Sorry Cabba.
Yeah, I'd bring him in. So I actually thought he was a Cardiff player, but turns out he was only on loan last season. I can't remember which club he's at.
Let me check.
But
he's at Midtjylland, who have signed this really good striker called Cho. So he might be surplus to requirements there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about him, Sam?
Yeah, I really like the look of him when he came to Vicarage Road and scored that. Was it? He scored the overhead.
Yeah. No one decides. People were just leaving him alone. I was like,
yeah, and I saw a couple of Cardiff games at the back end of last season when they were on TV, and he did really impress me. It'd been nice to have we'll have a Sorry Cabba and a Cabba in there, so it wouldn't be too confusing in the dressing room. But yeah, I'd try and bring him in, even if it's on loan.
Yeah, for sure. I think that would be
interesting. Like, Leeds are also interested in him, but they're trying to get Joel Perreault from Swansea. So I don't know if we have to wait for them to get Perreault. But yeah, he scored 8 goals in 17 games for Cardiff last season. He's a big, strong lad. He's slightly older. He's 27. I think it'd be a decent signing.
I think it'd be quite a clever signing. Put it in the Tom Ince bracket, slightly above. Slightly above the Tom Ince bracket. Moving on, Jamal Lewis. Sam.
Yeah, I would. I would have rather Styles, as we spoke about before. In terms of if it was a choice between the two, having watched Styles, I don't know. I just really like him, to be honest with you.
It's not Harry Styles, mate.
Exactly. Jamal Lewis hasn't played too much football, I don't think, over the last 18 months or so since coming into Newcastle. And I think there are a few more flaws to his game. Newcastle fans think that I think concentration problems were the main thing that I picked up on from Newcastle fans. But yeah, I still think it would be a good signing, to be honest with you. Someone who's got a point to prove. He's still at a good age, got championship experience as well. So I'd definitely be happy with it. I don't have the categories. What's the second one down again?
The second one down, Sam, is decent signing.
Decent signing, I'd go with.
I think it'd be this one.
Yeah, it was only 2020 when Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool wanted to sign him as Andy Robertson replacement. They were willing to spend £10 million on him, but I think Norwich wanted more, or Newcastle wanted more, and they went with Tsimikas instead. I think it'd be a really good signing. He's got a Premier League promotion on his CV with Norwich. He's got 30 international caps for Northern Ireland as well. I think it'd be a really, really decent signing.
I think he would be. I think he would be as well. And also, it'd be quite. Would it be a loan?
Loan, yeah. He's got one. His contract runs out in 25. So if he has a year loan with us, he'll have 1 year left on his deal. Where if he'd want to go back in, it'd be a lot cheaper then.
Exactly. Last player, and Charlie, I'm going to throw him over to you. Ucko Adams.
Yes, this is the only player that we've listed who I would put in would be amazing.
Wow.
Ucko Adams is a Nigerian striker. He's 23 years old. He plays in the Norwegian League, the top tier in the Norwegian League. He scored 14 goals in 13 games in 2023. 6'3", good in the air. He's a bit of like a penalty box striker. He scored a lot of the tap-ins. He's in the right place at the right time. And I think he'd be... That's why I'm kind of encouraged about some of the areas that we're looking to recruit in, which is totally unique. It has been a little link. The one downside for me is that apparently Middlesbrough and Leicester are interested in him as well. We've also made an inquiry. But yeah, just the way he plays, really energetic player. He actually reminds me, we mentioned it in our last video, Jacob, Benny Traore, who Sheffield United just signed. He's quite similar to him, obviously from like a Scandinavian league. But
scouting from you, mate.
Well, it was that Sean who saw Helena Costa was following. But yeah, Adams fits the profile of what we want. Big, tall lad, energetic, good in the press, good link-up play. He's a goal machine. I think he's the only player on this list who I think would be an amazing signing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just reading what people have said about him as well. Middlesbrough are also interested. Is just something to make clear. But a lot of people have said that he's taken the step up from the first division in Norway, which is the second tier, to the Elite Serien, which is the first tier in Norway, like a duck to water. He currently has 23 goals and 4 assists in 37 games, 29 starts. Pretty good return. And I think that's the type of level where I think he'd just go into the Championship and he probably would just smash it as well. Like, I wouldn't say, obviously it's best, the quality in the Championship is better, but I don't think it's like a massive difference in level, I would say, personally.
You're seeing a lot of interesting business from teams in the Championship, which you're seeing, I want to get this right, but Blackburn have bought a player in, I can't remember who it's for, but Preston have bought someone from Norway. Stoke today have bought a Portuguese guy. In the Championship now, because the standard's so good and, it's that one step for the Premier League, like the scouting has kind of gone over to Europe, these European leagues, to try and find these bits of talent and basically sell the dream that, look, we'll put you in the English public. So maybe it's a bit annoying that everyone else is looking in these areas apart from us. But yeah, I think Adams is the one player who stood out for me a lot.
The one player, and that's the list of rumours that we've gone through, and we'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below. A lot of chat. I would say a lot of people kind of agree with what we were feeling, guys. From what I'm reading, Luan says the work permit rules have changed, so we can bring in 2 players who wouldn't normally get one. Alex says Nigerian. I'll get my flag back out. Alex got Emmanuel Dennis's shirt at Villa away because he had the Nigeria flag. What a man. Is there any players that you think actually will sign at that list, Sam?
Livermore.
Lewis?
Yeah, the thing is, I think probably Lewis isn't as far ahead as was being reported originally because, I mean, again, no disrespect to the journalist, I can't remember his name, but the way the tweet was written just seemed that it was accelerating quite quickly. But turns out he's in America on pre-season tour and started for Newcastle the other day against Rangers as well. So maybe Eddie Howard
on the left wing for Newcastle the other day.
Yeah, Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, because Newcastle going to need a bigger squad next year in the Champions League as well. So maybe Eddie Howe's just having a look at him, seeing if he can utilise him at all. So I don't think that one's as far ahead as possible, but I'd say Livermore probably, and I think probably Lewis is a maybe.
Charlie?
Yeah, Livermore. I think Lewis will happen. It might happen quicker now when Harvey Barnes gets confirmed. I don't know why he was playing on the left wing. He would be going for playing with Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali to whoever we've got in midfield. But I think Lewis would be good. Obviously, Livermore. And then, I don't know. I'm just hoping we can pluck one of these gems out. That's what Ben Manga's known for in Germany. His nickname is the Pearl Diver. Do you know what I mean? So he's finding those gems. I'm really hoping he can pull one out. The one player that it's interesting. I'm looking at teams like Burnley who are doing a lot of business, and I can imagine teams like Burnley, Sheffield United, which their players who can't get into their team now in the Premiership. Is that the kind of player that will be able to attract once those deals have come in? I'm not sure. Is there any other players that you two think would be a good signing, or anyone in the comments can suggest any players that you think we should go for?
I think Casadei would be an amazing signing. I actually put him in that category if we got him, just for if you look at the level that he's playing at as well, and judging by what he's done and what people are saying about him, I think he'd be a really good sign. I think Callum Styles would be just a clever signing. Again, versatile, can play multiple positions. I think Styles, Casadei, and you know what, Charlie, you've convinced me about Ucko Adams. Get him in immediately. I don't know how much he costs, but break the bank.
Yeah, I'm hoping Borough go back in for Cameron Archer, so they don't need him. And Leicester are going to be. Who've Leicester got up front? Vardy, Daka, Ian
Atcho.
Yeah. So that's why I think we're waiting. There's so many dominoes to fall before we can move. That's what I'm hoping anyway. But
Greg's gone Kiefer Moore.
I saw a rumour.
Is that a rumour?
I saw a rumour linking him to someone else yesterday, I think. Let me see who it was, or someone.
Alex Mowat would be good, I think, says Harry.
Alex Mowat apparently has been featuring quite a lot for West Brom in their games. Kiefer Moore's out in Spain with Bournemouth under Andoni Areola.
Who looks mustard.
Yeah. Don't even talk to me about what Bournemouth are doing. It's going to make me absolutely cry.
Oh God! If you don't laugh, you cry. I think that's the list. Sam, final thoughts, mate?
Yeah, as I said right at the start of the video, my new season's resolution is just to try and be more positive. We'll see how long that one lasts. But with 16 days away or so from the start of the season, roll on QPR at home, and we'll hopefully be back with another couple of videos as well. Season preview coming up as well.
I think we're all at QPR at home, and we're all at Stevenage away. So if you see us, come and say hello. We'll probably say it nearer the time, but we always want to say hello to you guys. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Really enjoyed it. Charlie, Sam, what a pleasure. Thanks to everyone who watched and tuned in. Really appreciate all the comments. Uncle Ron, good to see you, my man. You were loving it in the live chat there. But yeah, make sure you leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, subscribe to WD18, and we'll see you very, very soon. Nice one. Take care, guys. Up the Hornets. You want